First short recap, open quote, NoSQL injection happens when an app uses databases like MongoDB and directly inserts user input into a JSON query without validation, close quote dot. Now let's see real cases. Yahoo 2018 MongoDB authentication bypass, publicly discussed case. At the time, some Yahoo services were using MongoDB for backend authentication. The issue, login system expected, you can see the code in our conversation history, but the backend did not validate input type. Researchers tested, you can see the code in our conversation history, meaning, open quote, login as admin where password is not null, close quote. Since admin password is obviously not null, authentication bypass. Impact, account takeover, admin level access, critical severity. This type of issue has appeared in multiple MongoDB-based apps. Uber bug bounty, NoSQL injection in login API, reported by researchers. Uber previously used MongoDB in parts of its infrastructure. Researchers found login endpoint vulnerable to JSON injection. Shack, normal login request. You can see the code in our conversation history. Attack payload. You can see the code in our conversation history, meaning email greater than empty string, password greater than empty string. Almost all records match this. System logged attacker in as the first user in database. Why it worked. Backend code looked like? You can see the code in our conversation history. It trusted the entire JSON body. Impact, account takeover, access to ride history, access to personal data, severity, high critical. GitHub Enterprise NoSQL injection, older reported case. Some enterprise installations using MongoDB-based search APIs were vulnerable. Search API example, you can see the code in our conversation history. Backend, you can see the code in our conversation history. Attacker sent, you can see the code in our conversation history. Converted internally to, you can see the code in our conversation history. Meaning, return all users where username is not null, which is basically all users. And hash impact, user enumeration, data leakage, information disclosure. Startup SaaS platforms, very common real bug bounty pattern, many startups using Node.js, Express, MongoDB. Make this mistake. You can see the code in our conversation history. Bug bounty hunters test. You can see the code in our conversation history if it logs in critical bug. This exact pattern has been reported dozens of times on bug bounty platforms. Why real companies were vulnerable? Because developers thought JSON was safe, no strict schema validation, no type checking, used request body directly in query. Chat, how companies fixed it. Strict input validation, force strings only, reject objects in login fields, use schema validation, Joy, Mongoose strict mode, explicitly map fields instead of passing entire request body, instead of, you can see the code in our conversation history. Secure version, you can see the code in our conversation history. Final understanding real-world NoSQL injection has caused admin login bypass, account takeover, data exposure, user enumeration. Common payload types, an NE, GT exists and mostly found in login APIs, search APIs, filter endpoints. If you want next level, I can explain. Blind NoSQL injection real case, step-by-step attacker mindset, how to detect it during testing, compare real SQLi versus NoSQL cases. Tell me which direction you want.